the story of Arsen and Sophia. It all began on a warm summer morning in Florence. Arsen had joined a student tour group during his solo trip across Europe, camera in hand, curiosity in his eyes. He wasn't expecting anything special that day, just another guided walk through cathedrals and cobblestone streets. Then he saw her. Sophia, quiet, graceful, with a sketchbook pressed to her chest, she wasn't taking photos like everyone else. She was drawing the city. Her focus caught Arsen's attention more than the monuments around them. When the group paused by the Ponte Vecchio bridge, Arsen finally spoke. "Your drawings? They look alive." She smiled, surprised. "Maybe because I draw what I feel, not what I see." That was how it started, one conversation that lasted the entire day. They walked ahead of the group, sharing stories about dreams, fears, and favorite songs. When it began to rain, they hid under a single umbrella and laughed like they'd known each other forever. By the end of the trip, they were inseparable. Arsen taught her how to take film photos. Sophia taught him how to see beauty in silence. But when summer ended, reality arrived. He lived in Ukraine. She studied art in Italy. Promises were made. We'll visit, we'll call every day. But life had its own plans. Months passed, messages slowed down. Then one night, Sophia sent him a photo. The same bridge where they met, with a single caption, "Some memories never fade." A year later, Arsen returned to Florence. Not for sightseeing, but to find her. He found Sophia at the same spot, sketching again, this time with 2 coffee cups beside her. She looked up, smiled softly, and said, "I knew you'd come back." For the first few days, it felt like time had never passed. They walked through the same narrow streets, visited the same cafe where they'd once shared tiramisu and laughter. Everything was familiar, except them. They were older now, quieter, carrying stories the other didn't know. One evening, they sat by the Arno River as the sun painted the water in gold. "I kept drawing that bridge every month," Sophia said softly. "It was the only way I could feel close to you." Arsen smiled. "I kept your sketches on my wall. Every time I thought of giving up on photography, I looked at them. They reminded me why I started." They began to create together again, blending his photographs and her paintings into something new. Their joint project, The City That Remembers, captured the beauty of fleeting moments. Each photo had a matching sketch, each emotion preserved twice, once in light, once in ink. Their art gained attention. A small gallery in Florence hosted their first exhibition. On the night of the opening, Sophia whispered, "Do you think people can see love in art?" Arsen smiled. "Only if it's real." But their time was running out. Arsen's visa was ending. He had to return home. The night before his flight, they walked the city one last time. At the airport, Sophia gave him a small envelope. "Don't open it until you land," she said. On the plane, he opened it. Inside was a drawing, the bridge, the rain, and 2 figures under one umbrella. At the bottom, she'd written, "Love doesn't live in one city, Toss. It travels, if we let it." Months passed. Distance grew. At first, they called every night, but life slowly took over. Sophia's art gained recognition across Italy. Arsen began filming documentaries across Europe. One night, she posted a painting, a faceless man by a bridge. The caption read, "Not everyone you lose is gone." He sent her a photo in reply, an empty street in Prague after rain. She messaged back, "Still chasing the light?" He answered, "Always." Still drawing the silence? And then a heart. Time passed quietly until one day, Arsen received an email. A Paris gallery was inviting them both to exhibit The City That Remembers. At the bottom was a note. "I told them about you. You should come. Sophia." He took the first train to Paris. It was raining again, just like Florence. Inside the gallery, their art hung side by side, her sketches and his photos, telling their story without words. Sophia stood near the last frame, the bridge. When she turned and saw him, her voice trembled. "You made it." Arsen smiled. "I never really left." After the exhibition, they walked through the quiet Parisian streets. In a small cafe near Montmartre, Sophia asked, "Do you think we were meant to meet again?" "I think we never stopped meeting," Arsen said. "Even when we were apart, every photo, every drawing, it was still us." He told her he'd been offered a photography residency in Paris. "I almost refused, until I saw your name on that gallery wall." She laughed through tears. "You always appear when I stop expecting you." They found a small apartment near the Seine. Creaky floors, tall windows, a balcony barely big enough for two. Every morning, Arsen photographed the sunrise. Sophia sketched him when he wasn't looking. Their work blossomed. Their love deepened. Their next exhibition, The City That Belongs to Us, told their story through Florence, Prague, and Paris. Each image was a memory reborn. After the show, Sophia stood before a painting of a man and woman on opposite sides of a bridge. She said softly, "I think I finally understand. We weren't trying to find home. We were building it." Arsen smiled. "And now that we've built it," she whispered, "now we live in it." Years passed. Their art gained fame, but their hearts stayed humble. Sophia opened a small studio for children. Arsen traveled for work, always bringing her small tokens, feathers, flowers, film rolls. She kept them in a box labeled "Things He Saw Before I Did." One winter night, he came home early and found her painting by the window. "What are you working on?" "A memory that hasn't happened yet." "That's not how memories work." She smiled. "Maybe not for everyone, but for us, they do." That painting became the centerpiece of their final exhibition, Still Here. When asked what it meant, Sophia said, "It's about staying. Not because you have to, but because you want to, every day." Later, they traveled back to Florence, to the bridge where it all began. The city hadn't changed, but they had. Sophia sat on the railing, sketchbook in hand. "Do you ever wish we'd met differently?" Arsen smiled. "No, because then it wouldn't have been us." He took her photo, the same pose, the same light as years ago. "You're still the same," she said softly. "So are you," he replied. As the sun set and the church bells rang, Sophia leaned on his shoulder. "Do you think stories ever end?" "Only the ones that were never real." Years drifted by gently, like pages turning in a book they'd both written together. Paris became their home, then a small coastal town in southern France. Their mornings smelled of salt and coffee. Sophia painted with the windows open. Arsen edited his photos with sunlight spilling across the floor. Sometimes in the evenings, they'd walk barefoot along the shore. Arsen would photograph the waves, and Sophia would sketch the sky as it melted into gold. The silence between them had become its own language, a gentle one, built on everything they'd lived through. One winter, Sophia fell ill. Through it all, they stayed together in their little apartment by the sea, holding hands, exchanging stories, and remembering all the cities, bridges, and rain that had led them here. On her last morning, as sunlight filtered through the windows, Sophia whispered, "We've lived well, haven't we?" Arsen kissed her forehead softly. "The best. And every moment with you has been a beginning, not an end." Her eyes closed peacefully, and Arsen held her hand a little longer, feeling the warmth of a love that had transcended cities, distance, and decades. Even after she was gone, Arsen continued to walk along the shore, camera in hand, capturing light, shadow, and moments that reminded him of her. Every photograph, every reflection in the waves, became a tribute to their life together. And in the quiet hum of the sea, in the soft rustle of the wind, it seemed as if Sophia's presence lingered, a gentle reminder that true love never fades. It transforms, endures, and becomes eternal, just as theirs had been. The cities remembered, the bridges remembered, and in every photograph, every painting, their love remained, endless, unbroken, and timeless. Years continued to move softly, like waves brushing the same familiar shore. Arsen grew older, but he never stopped walking to the sea every morning with his camera. Each sunrise still carried her presence, in the gold across the water, in the silence that followed. Lucia had grown into a young artist. Her sketches had depth now, emotion, patience, memory. Arsen often watched her and smiled quietly. There was something in the way she observed the world that reminded him of Sophia. That same gentle curiosity, that same need to understand life through beauty. One evening, Lucia visited his small studio. The walls were filled with framed moments: Florence, Prague, Paris, the sea. In the center hung Sophia's final painting, softly lit by the fading sun. "Do you ever think she's still here?" Lucia asked. Arsen turned to her and nodded. "Every time I take a photo, every time someone feels something looking at it, that's her. That's us." Lucia looked at him thoughtfully. "You should show them again. Your work, I mean. People should see what love can become." Arsen smiled faintly. "Maybe it's time." A few months later, a new exhibition opened in Paris, the same city where his and Sophia's art had once shared a wall. This time, the collection was called Echoes of Light. The first room displayed photographs Arsen had taken after Sophia's passing: empty beaches, open windows, half-finished paintings on wooden tables. The second room showed Lucia's sketches, her interpretations of those same photos. Together, they told a quiet story of legacy, of love that transformed into memory and creation. Visitors moved slowly, whispering, feeling something they couldn't quite name.